The US highway system is expansive, a little bit too thorough, and often confusing. But evidently, it does have some pretty cool quirks. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about one of them. We'll be talking about the highway that doesn't even really exist. A highway that contains no concrete, asphalt, tire shreds, litter, HOV lanes, or underpasses. And this is North Carolina State Highway 12, which is, in part, an official state highway operated by Ferry. Now, North Carolina 12 is not entirely run this way. Spanning from the southern edges of the Outer Banks to the northern edge of the village of Corolla, this scenic highway winds through some of the most picturesque landscapes along the eastern seaboard. NC-12 is actually one of just 148 roads in the US designated as a National Scenic Byway. Other more famous scenic byways include the Red Rock Scenic Byway through Sedona, Arizona, as well as the iconic Florida Keys Scenic Highway. Funnily enough, there is at least one designated scenic highway in all states except Hawaii and Texas. Pretty much all of Hawaii's roads could be considered scenic byways, so that's understandable. But if you've ever taken a road trip through Texas, well, I'm sure you understand that state's lack of scenic byway designation. I might do a video sometime covering this topic, so make sure you've hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any future videos if you're so inclined. What truly sets NC-12 apart from the other coastal routes is its inclusion of ferry service in between regular road service. And honestly, this state has integrated this unique facet quite seamlessly. North Carolina's Outer Banks have a long history of isolation and reliance on maritime transportation. Before the advent of modern roads, the region's inhabitants primarily traversed the barrier islands and marshy estuaries by boat. The Outer Banks themselves are narrow strips of land flanked by the Atlantic Ocean to the east and various bays and sounds to the west, making continuous road infrastructure a real challenge. The geographical layout of the Outer Banks, with its shifting sands, dynamic coastline, and numerous inlets, presents formidable obstacles to traditional road construction. Rather than attempting to conquer these natural barriers through costly and environmentally disruptive means, the planners of NC-12 recognized the option of integrating ferry routes into the transportation network early on. By utilizing existing waterways, they could provide a reliable and efficient means of travel between the various islands while minimizing the ecological impact of infrastructure development by the sea. And to that point, NC-12 is one of the most sea-battered highways in the US, as its location means it's often damaged by various storms that frequent the Outer Banks, as has happened for millennia before a paved road was even on the islands. Storms have cut new inlets through the islands or closed up existing inlets with sand, making a permanent road able to survive the elements for an extended time quite a difficult achievement. Hatteras Island, seen here, was cut into two in 2003 by Hurricane Isabel, which opened up a new inlet 3,000 feet wide and 30 feet deep through the community of Hatteras Village. This new inlet was temporarily named the Isabel Inlet after the hurricane, and road access along NC-12 was temporarily severed until the island was repaired and restored by sand pumped ashore by the Army Corps of Engineers. In 2007, subtropical storm Andrea caused high winds to push waves over dunes and onto the highway on Hatteras Island, leaving water a foot deep and sand 2 to 3 feet deep in some places. NC-12 was also severed in two places by Hurricane Irene in late August 2011. The road was breached by two small inlets about 200 feet across in the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge. In the state highway's current form, two routes operate as official state highway ferry service. Their first route is Hatteras to Ocracoke. This route ferries cars across the Hatteras Inlet in an hour-long journey circumventing the marine-protected Hatteras Inlet crab spawning sanctuary. This little inlet is actually packed with both transportation history as well as Civil War history, as it was the site of the Battle of Hatteras Inlet Batteries, which resulted in the Union domination of the strategically important North Carolina Sounds. While this Hatteras to Ocracoke Ferry State Highway is a rather long way to travel just 2 miles as the crow flies, the inclusion of ferry service routes along Highway 12 offers several logistical advantages. Firstly, it allows for the efficient movement of people and goods between the mainland and the Outer Banks without a need for a lengthy detour or expensive bridge construction. This is particularly crucial in emergency situations such as hurricanes or other natural disasters when roadways may become impassable due to flooding or erosion. This route in particular sees 960,000 passengers and 353,000 vehicles annually. That's a volume that simply cannot be understated, especially when taking into consideration that this floating highway goes between two towns with a combined population of just over 1,000 people. The other ferry highway route operates service from Ocracoke to Cedar Island. This one is a bit longer at 23 miles traveled for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It sees 184 annual passengers and 76,000 annual vehicles. Unlike the previous route, though, this route is tolled. The state's transportation website says this is due to it being popular. However, that doesn't really track, as it sees way less annual passengers than the former. It's unfortunate, but in order to travel this Ferry State Highway, pedestrians will be paying a $1 toll, while vehicles have a range of tolls and fees listed, which depend on what mode of transportation you are bringing aboard this mode of transportation. North Carolina is full of islands and water, and there are many ferries transporting travelers from place to place. But NC-12's ferries are the only ones that have the designation of being part of the state highway system, and I just think that's pretty cool. It's especially cool and a little confusing how on Google Maps it treats the ferry as a road that you're able to put walking directions on. Not really sure how they expect you to walk this one, but I'm sure my most urbanist viewers will find a way. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week on 4th Place.